Why does Ryan Reynolds give a shit about this? Why is he getting so upset?
Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, will be deposed, and I suspect that might be making Ryan Reynolds extremely nervous, and I'll tell you why.
Y'all, this Ryan Reynolds tea is too hot, and it looks like his nice guy act might finally be crumbling. Word on the street is that his longtime bromance with Hugh Jackman is over, and because Hugh is tired of his ish now, we all thought Ryan and Hugh had this cute, playful feud. You know, the funny little back and forths online roasting each other for laughs, but behind the scenes it's giving toxic. Sources are spilling that Ryan's jokes weren't jokes at all. In fact, Hugh allegedly told close friends that Ryan's antics went from playful to straight-up bullying, and not just towards him. Apparently, Ryan's been terrorizing everyone around him. Makeup artists, co-stars, and even directors. The real kicker? Hugh's had enough after years of keeping quiet. He's supposedly exposing how Ryan pulls strings behind the scenes, throwing tantrums and making career-ending threats whenever things don't go his way. Y'all, this narrative is messy, so let's get straight into it now. According to a surprising discovery from Fox News, Ryan allegedly threatened to end a makeup artist's entire career, and the reason they couldn't drop everything to attend to his every desire during some last-minute reshoots. Here's the scoop. The makeup artist was out of the country, busy working on another project because, you know, they're a professional with a career, and Ryan did not take kindly to being told no. An insider spilled the tea, saying Ryan Reynolds threatened to fire the makeup artist off the rest of the film and the reshoot they had to do. Excuse me, who does he think he is? Some kind of Hollywood overlord? The entitlement is off the charts. The makeup artist wasn't even being difficult. They were literally fulfilling another job commitment. But Ryan, oh no, he took it as a personal attack and went full diva mode. And let's not pretend this is some isolated incident. Word is spreading that Ryan has a habit of threatening people behind the scenes, especially when he doesn't get his way. Directors, crew members, and now makeup artists. At this point, the only thing he's deadpooling is people's careers anyways. You know how they've been pushing this whole playful rivalry between Deadpool and Wolverine? Yeah, turns out that behind the scenes it wasn't all jokes and friendly banter. Ryan's fake feud stick was apparently just a cover-up for the power games and controlling behavior he's been pulling since day one. Sources are now claiming that Hugh tried to keep the peace for the sake of the movie, but behind closed doors things got real tense. Allegedly, Ryan would micromanage scenes, throw tantrums when things didn't go his way, and even question Hugh's input on set, which is wild when you remember that Hugh's been in the game way longer and has carried the X-Men franchise on his back for years. But here's where it gets even messier. Word on the street is that Hugh is about to be deposed in the ongoing legal battle between Ryan's wife Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Yep, the same legal. The mess that's already been dragging Ryan's name through the mud could now have Hugh spilling all the behind the scenes. Dirt One insider spilled Hugh will be deposed if this goes to trial. There is no way that he cannot, the source continued. While Donnie's legal team is doing everything they need to do to get a full scope of Ryan's conduct during the time that it ends with us, it was filmed as Ryan's good friend, who starred in the film and was with Blake and Ryan many times in private during that time. His deposition will likely be crucial. They are not going to leave any stone unturned.
They want the judge to agree to an attorney's eyes only designation to protect, as they term it, highly confidential information that could destroy the careers of the third party people that are involved. Okay, so third party, meaning they're not listed in this lawsuit as plaintiffs or defendants, but they're third parties, and they're going to get deposed, and we're going to get to subpoena some information, and they're going like, we need this AEO designation because their careers would be ruined if the public found something out about them. It just makes you ask, what truth could be so poisonous to someone's career that if revealed, it would be over?
And let me tell y'all, this is huge. Why? Because Hugh has been close enough to see everything he knows, all the whispers, all the secrets, and could potentially confirm just how deep Ryan's toxicity runs. If he testifies, Ryan's carefully curated, nice guy image could come crumbling down fast, so we've already clocked him for threatening makeup artists and allegedly bullying Hugh Jackman behind the scenes. But y'all, the drama doesn't stop there, because Ryan's ego reportedly got so big, he allegedly pushed out Tim Miller, the director, who made Deadpool a success. Now, Tim directed the first Deadpool movie and basically helped Ryan resurrect his career. But when it came time for Deadpool 2, Tim was nowhere to be found. Why? Because according to Tim himself, Ryan decided he wanted to be the big boss and take total control of the franchise. Tim spilled the tea in an interview with THR saying, it became clear that Ryan wanted to be in control of the franchise. You can work that way as a director quite successfully, but I can't. Y'all, Ryan was such an impossible nightmare to work with that Tim would rather walk away from a multi-million-dollar franchise than deal with Ryan's controlling antics. And here's the kicker, Tim wasn't the only one who got pushed out once Ryan took the reins. It was his show. He controlled the scripts, the creative direction, and even had a say in casting. Basically, if Ryan didn't like you, you were out. This man has been on a power trip ever since. And now that he's running the whole show, nobody can tell him a damn thing now in Deadpool 2. Ryan created the character of Neepool, a nicer version of Deadpool, but apparently that's not the whole story. Allegedly, Nis was a character written into the movie to mock Justin Baldoni. And guess what? Everyone on set knew it, including Hugh Jackman. Sources say Hugh was deeply uncomfortable with the whole thing, especially because he had zero beef with Baldon. But with Ryan running the show and calling the shots, Hugh had to either play along or risk getting iced out. I mean, what do you even do when the star of the movie is also pulling the strings behind the camera? Let's take Marina Bakken, the female lead in the first Deadpool movie, as an example. Remember how she was basically sidelined? In the sequel, well, turns out that wasn't some creative decision, it was Ryan's petty revenge. A source from the production spilled the tea, saying Ryan thought she was overbearing, so he basically grounded her. Excuse me? So instead of acting like a professional, Ryan just erased her from the promotional materials and slashed her screen time. And in Hollywood, where visibility is everything, that's not just petty, it's career sabotage. But Marina wasn't the only one who got the cold shoulder. TJ Miller, who played Weasel, straight up called Ryan out for being genuinely mean on set. And the story he told apparently was that Ryan humiliated TJ in front of the entire crew, saying, "You know what's great about you, Weasel? You're not the star, but you do just enough exposition that it's funny, and then we can leave and get back to the real movie." Like what? That's not banter, that's straight up bullying. Classic power move to make someone feel small while puffing up his ego. But TJ didn't stop there. He added that he would never want to work with Ryan ever again. Would I work with him again? No, I would not work with him again, he said. I wish him well because he's so good at Deadpool, and I think it's weird that he hates me. He said, I don't wish them any ill will. I think Ryan should produce a Deadpool 3 and continue to make movies. He doesn't like me. And it was an unusual way he expressed that.
I would not have done Deadpool 3 if they came to me and they were like, we want you to do Deadpool 3 and we're going to pay you twice as much.
Over that one incident?
And guess what, Hugh? Jackman probably watched all of this drama. Reliable sources claim Hugh's been getting increasingly uncomfortable with Ryan's actions, notably with the way he treats his co-stars, and it doesn't stop there. Jake Gyllenhaal, previously Ryan's so-called BFF, reportedly has nothing to do with him anymore. These two used to be inseparable, conducting interviews together and hyping each other up, and then suddenly radio silence. Jake won't even mention Ryan's name now. What went wrong between them? Word on the street is that things went south when they worked together on Life back in 2017. Rumor has it, Jake saw Ryan's true colors on set and dipped out of the friendship. And get this, Rebecca Ferguson, their co-star, has also hinted at some toxic behavior during filming. She once spilled the tea about a castmate who was, quote, insecure and angry. Sis never dropped names, but the timeline and context is giving Ryan Reynolds loud and clear. But the plot thickens because now Hugh Jackman, Ryan's supposed BFF, is also allegedly over it. Hugh got dragged into the Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively drama and is now being forced to choose sides. Remember that cringy skit promoting It Ends With Us that had literally nothing to do with the movie? Hugh was roped into that mess and had to deliver lines that were basically just Ryan's way of mocking Baldoni. And the worst part, Hugh had no clue he was being used as a pawn in Ryan's personal beef. Then came the premiere drama. Hugh was pressured to show up and publicly support Ryan and Blake, while Baldoni was allegedly kept in the basement and made to arrive early to avoid crossing paths with the Reynolds Lively crew. Now, Scarlett Johansson has always kept it classy when talking about their split, but she did describe him as passive-aggressively jealous, and then There's Alanis Morissette, who dropped a whole album after their breakup, basically dragging him for being, you guessed it, insecure. Notice a pattern. People who've known Reynolds intimately all seem to describe him the same way, and it doesn't stop. With his relationships, his professional life is just as messy. Remember when director Tim Miller dipped after the first Deadpool? Turns out it wasn't creative differences. It was Ryan trying to control everything. TJ Miller straight up called him genuinely mean on set and said Ryan would belittle him in front of the crew just to feed his own ego. And now Hugh Jackman, the man we thought was his BFF, is reportedly ready to spill all the tea in the upcoming Baldoni versus Lively lawsuit. Word is Hugh's been done with Ryan's antics for a minute, and this lawsuit might finally push him to break his silence. What makes this even messier? Blake Lively. Ryan's other half is also getting dragged into the Baldwin case, facing accusations of being controlling and manipulative, so now we've got Hollywood's perfect couple crumbling right before our eyes. Anyways, what do you all think? Is Ryan finally getting exposed for who he really is? Or is this all just Hollywood drama gone wild? Drop your thoughts below. Until next time. Bye.